very warm welcome to all the participants in today's session on emerging technology trends in aviation industry. So I am your host Palvi for today's session. Today we have with us Mr. Vinod Bhat, an award-winning technology and business leader with 30 years of industry experience, ranked among the top global CXOs, a frequent industry speaker, an author, and a motivational leader. So currently he is working with Air Vistara as Chief Information Officer. So before we move towards a conversation, let me give a small brief about TechGig. So TechGig is a part of Times Internet, a community of technologists willing to learn, grow, and upskill in their careers. We have India's largest and fastest growing developer community of around 4.6 million software professionals. So now, without any further delay, I just wanted to hand over it to Mr. Bhatt so that he can give us a small brief about himself and his career history so that we can move forward. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Pallavi, for having me. I think we already covered, so I will quickly brief. So I have been in industry for 30 plus years. I have worked in 15 plus industries. I have worked in most of the geos like US, UK, Europe, APAC in multiple roles. So very glad to be part of this conversation. We'll talk about the key trends in the aviation. What are the challenges? What are the solutions which Vistara has even implemented? Uh, I'm looking forward to the conversation, Pallavi.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bhatt. So let's start the conversation. So, sir, my first question to you is, what is the key technology and the business trend in the aviation industry?
Yes, see, Pallavi, if you look at last 2, 3 years, we have got a lot of data generated, lot of services, consumer-facing services or customer-facing services, which were offline and they have moved online. So with that, technologies like biometrics have taken a big role. So that is one of the key trends where people don't want to use the other means to identify even the identities also or the recognitions also. So biometric is one technology which is really going to pick more from here. We have heard a lot about AI, artificial intelligence, right? So it is going to continue along with the analytics, but more importantly, the whole generative AI narrative which we are hearing in the industry. So it is going to pick more because there are a lot of use cases for aviation industry. For example, if I have to streamline the complete customer feedback, I think generative AI has a very very good use case where we can get the action plan quite quickly done, and we don't have to go through multiple channels, digital channels of customer feedback, collating, a lot of manual churning of data. So generative AI can be very handy. So I think AI will be the third one, generative AI, which will be very useful from technology point of view. Then we are also talking about the immersive technologies. We are talking about AR, we are talking about augmented reality, virtual reality, extended reality, and metaverse and all. You will see that more and more picking up the pace as there are better tools, regulations, compliance related regulations around data security are actually getting matured. So you will see that also very big trend, and in fact, some of the airlines have already started some of the pilots in metaverse, where you can actually play with that, the digital avatars and all that, where you can get a feel of it. There is, I think, fourth technology which will be very, very, looking forward to look at it. I think you briefly talked about blockchain. So blockchain will be, it has been there for a while. It hasn't picked up to that extent we wanted, but it is still in the to-do list or to be watched list, where we can, there are we in the, I think immediately after COVID there was a requirement for a health passport, where you want to keep the whole COVID certificates intact, and blockchain was being evaluated as one of it. Similarly, if you have a luggage which is getting transition to across multiple hops, so you can use blockchain. You can use blockchain for the whole supply chain, the maintenance, the part authenticity. Lot of those use cases are possible. We have also seen emergence of 5G, and again, it has a huge relevance for airports because a lot of data exists at the airports, and the airlines are, can use that data or effectively for decision making. And manufacturers are also building the edge devices. For example, thermal cameras, which are today at the airports, right? So they generate a lot of data. So there is no point sending gigabytes of data to the cloud and then do the analysis while the person is sitting at the airport. So you can actually use 5G, and you can use the edge computing there itself, and it can actually decentralize the cloud, while it can give a lot of control or decision power to the people at the airport. Similarly, customer experience will continue on the business side. So far, I was talking about technology, but business side, customer experience will continue, because the the whole technology suite is changing, which is actually changing the customer behavior itself. So that will continue on that front. On also the sustainability from business point of view is a very important, and airlines also will come about net zero by 2050. So you would have heard about this SAF, which is Sustainable Aviation Fuel, and so those kind of I would say technology interventions along with the business will be there. Other business trends is basically the whole network, whole routes, and how technology can enable it. Again, since I'm wearing more technology hat, I'm just trying to relate that how the business trends are actually getting enabled by the technology. So there are tons to talk about. IoT is a big one, which has been there and quite successful. In fact, the sensors around the whole airports is getting installed everywhere, which can actually give the movements, the queue movement, you can bus the gate announcements. Everything can be actually managed. You can actually look at the customer movements also. Uh, so yes, I think there are some of the technology and business trends which are prevailing right now in the aviation.
Absolutely, sir. Sir, as you explained it very well for our participants, so I just wanted to ask one more question, like how technology is helping in better customer experience and personalization, like flight operations, ground services, and engineering in the aviation industry.
See, Pallavi, we talked about briefly about biometric. So I'll give a good example of that is Digi Yatra, which is already operational in 7 airports in India. So if you happen to be in Delhi, you can use that. But of course, you have to download the app and make sure that you follow the authentication, other things. But it is very smooth. It is very the whole touchless experience where your face becomes the boarding pass. So it's basically beautiful experience in terms of until you board the aircraft, you don't have to do anything, so it will continue. The second on the customer experience side is that when you are talking about the single view of the customer, because in aviation you have got data which is flowing around through multiple channels, and this data may not be complete, it may be duplicate, because when you are booking a ticket you don't give correct phone number, correct email id, half name, you name it. So you use the AI to deduplicate and really work on it to create a single view of the customer. uh, and when you are doing it, because it's the backbone, if you don't understand the customer, you cannot do anything further in terms of the servicing the customer, in terms of providing the solutions to the customer. So I think that is from customer experience point of view. Other thing is the whole personalization. See, if I am a loyal customer, I'm a loyalty customer, I am a gold or platinum customer, and the airlines actually understand my preferences very well. For example, I always take vegetarian meal. I always sit, in an aisle. I always want to watch this kind of content. I always want to get an, route options or upgrade options from Delhi to Mumbai or Delhi to London. So things like that. So this whole personalization, in fact hyper personalization we call it, where you get us to segment of one, where you can actually target a customer based on the truly based on the experience. So that will these technology will really help to provide that personalization. So similarly, if you go to the revenue side of it, if you have to, you talked about the flight operation or finance and revenue, so commercial side of it, where you can take a data informed call saying that, oh, this route is how many flights are there, where you can fine tune the schedule, fine tune the frequency, fine tune or start a new route. So this technology will again help you in managing the whole flight. Similarly, on the crew side, what kind of crew rostering solutions you have got. Are they automated? Are they taking care of the lifestyle preferences of the crew? In fact, if you search for the rostering solution for Vistara, we have a press release where we have implemented a solution which takes care of the lifestyle preferences of the crew also, because at the end of the day, you need to balance that, right? Similarly, engineering side also, the technology is really helping. I will talk about probably later when I'm going to give Vistara examples, but the whole automation piece, where you don't have to hop around multiple papers to get an approval to work on an aircraft,
Right.
or even getting rid of some of the documents which were happening there, or giving the tools to the crew in the flight on the at the airport. I think technology is a great enabler in addressing that. We also talk about in terms of technology, the the infrastructure and info security, because many times you tend to take your eyes off thinking that everything can run without their support, but fact of the matter is that we are on cloud, for example. So cloud gives this a fantastic ability to upscale, downscale, also manage our costs well, manage our dynamic demand of the aviation industry very well. So there are some of the technologies which are enabling these transformations, whether they are customer facing, whether they are the ground operations, their engineering side of it, or even the purely info security or infrastructure point of view.
Great, sir. Okay. So, and what are the changing trends and challenges in info and cybersecurity, like in this industry?
See, it is, as I said, starting that we have got, the lot of data is around, and a lot of devices are today more online. The workforce is working in a hybrid mode, and they can connect to the enterprise literally from anywhere. So the boundary of the enterprise is not same what it used to be. So you don't have to per se come to the office and work always, but you can work from anywhere. So question is that how do you, and particularly in aviation, you have got 70% of the workforce is always on the field, on the ground, right, on the airports, moving always. So of course, this the data security, info security is very critical for us, and putting the right, I would say, tools and processes in place. I think it's about the whole identity and access management. How do you manage the identity and access management of your employees, of the partners, right? So it also includes your whole privilege access management. If people are some admins, how do you manage their admin responsibilities? Then the second aspect is about the whole data compliance, right? So we are in a regulated industry. We need to make sure that we are GDPR and other compliant. So how do you know that which applications are generating what kind of data, and what is the control on that data? What is the data strategy you have got in place? Who accesses the data? And if there's an audit, you should be able to produce the artifacts while you maintain the controls. I think that is the second, I would say, the trend or challenge. Third thing which has come up very well in the industry and being embraced very well is zero trust. So zero trust is where you literally don't trust anything, right? You need to validate every time a user, from the application point of view, from the network point of view, from uh, basically firewall, anything, any device also. So, and what are the tools you need to put in place which will give that visibility? And it also talks about microsegmentation, where you can segregate the network itself. You can segregate the application itself. See, imagine you have got apps which are gold apps, which are gold means business critical, super critical, they can't go down. Similarly, you have got, say, silver category of apps, and maybe the bronze or copper third one. So you can have a different strategy for these kind of apps or networks, the way you want to look at it, and that gives you a better control that if there is a tomorrow an incident, how do you manage it? What is your business continuity plan? What is your disaster recovery plan? How do you take the backup of this data? How do you bring it back? God forbid, if there is a malware attack, ransomware attack, how do you manage that whole major incident management process, right? So those are the things which have happened, and again, aviation is embracing those technologies. Other technology which has also picked up, probably it will more pick up. It is the SASE. So it is SASE is where you integrate SASE, where you integrate the network and the security solutions. Because what was happening is this knock and sock, right? Network operation center, security operation center. They were not talking to each other per se. But with SASE, actually, you can integrate the pieces together. So secure access service edge is the acronym. So how do you ensure that your pieces of the puzzles are talking to each other? For example, if there's an incident in the infra, does the info security know about it? And what is the impact to the whole application suite, or what is the impact to the whole infrastructure, and what is the criticality of it? I talked about the categorization of apps or network. So you can actually escalate, you can flag, you can make it more business critical, and you can have better support mechanisms from your vendors also, which will give you a lot more control on the uh, info security part of it. And also, how do you isolate? We don't want a vertical or a horizontal breach happening. And as simple as, for example, phishing email campaigns, right? So you say that your employees or your people are the weakest link in the whole organization. You can put tons of controls, but if there is a slip or miss by a single user or single employee, probably it will cost you everything. So how do you educate that whole employee base and the partner base, and telling them not to get actually trapped into the whole phishing campaigns, and which are happening through emails or through WhatsApp or through phone, or they make you click. So that those are, I would say, a constant you know constant trainings or display awareness which we build to the employees. We also make sure that we have got annual security quiz which everybody gives, because it's not a one time, right? Security, you live this on everyday basis. So you tend to make sure that that becomes part of your regular SOP, and it is digitally tracked. How you make sure that you can monitor this and take any action if there is an action needs to be taken.
Right, sir. As we all know that there are so many cyber threats that are happening in today's time. So I think the things that the aviation industry is following, I think it's very beneficial for in terms of technology that they are doing. So moving towards the digital transformation. So what are the best practices that around digital transformation in this industry?
See, when you build a digital strategy for an organization, particularly this airlines aviation, we need to understand that it has to be a multi-pronged strategy, where you look at all the dimensions. You look at what is my size and scale, which areas I need to, where I am today, and where I want to be, and which business processes or technology areas I need to look into, and really look at the ROI which is going to generate on the cost, whatever cost you are going to incur in the whole digital transformation journey. And it's important that the whole strategy is multidimensional. And when you are presenting that strategy to the board for the approvals, I think that we need to be very, very clear on that how it is going to deliver the value. And this value, we cannot say that it is going to deliver value after 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. Nobody has that much time or patience. Maybe it has to be in months. It has to be in probably 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months. So how you can deliver this? So the first part of strategy is that whether we have an overall strategy and whether you don't have. Second is, see, this we are in an era where a lot of unknowns are there. So you need to have a fail fast strategy as part of the second one. That if there is, yes, you need to venture, you need to do some POCs, POVs with your partners, but do it quickly. Do it quickly, fail fast, learn from it, and move forward. That's also part of strategy. There is no static digital strategy today. Digital strategy gets fine tuned as you know more. For example, if there's a new tool coming up and which is relevant for your industry, and maybe there are three tools, and you may have to work on all the three tools look very promising at the start. But when you do a POC, when you look at it, whether it is relevant for me, whether it is cost wise, integration wise, data wise, everything, then you take a call. So and you fail fast. If it is not working out, you take the next call can be very quickly. Third thing is, when you build a digital strategy, you need to show the incremental benefits. Everybody around will be very impatient, extremely impatient. They'll say, "Oh, you are already 2 months. What happened? 3 months. What happened? 4 months." So you need to build those incremental benefits, incremental deliverables, which will give comfort to the stakeholders that, oh, you are on the right track, and keep them updated. on the challenges, keep them updated. If there is approvals to be needed, absolutely needed. If there's an impact on the organization change management, that means if the processes are completely getting changed, so you need to make sure that the people understand that what are the changes which are happening. Because if you are going to replace an existing system with a new system, which is going to be better and bigger, then you need to, before people can appreciate it, you want to tell them that what does it mean. So you need to spend time not only on the technology side, but also on changing organization, change management. Also, you need to tell people how beneficial it's going to be. And many times people have questions on their roles. Oh, is it going to eat away my job? Am I not going to do what I was supposed to do last 20 years I have been doing? For example, Excel, and Excel is getting replaced by some good application. So that's also part of the digital strategy, that you cannot implement a technology in isolation. You have to take your business along. You have to take your stakeholders along. You have to take your employees along. And it may also mean that the digital quotient of your employees is very low. That means you have to train them. You have to give them the comfort. You have to also tell them the brighter side of technology. How you'll otherwise you're left out. You need to be part of this train which is moving at a good pace, and the enterprise has embarked on it. Please join the bandwagon and make sure that there is enough stuff for you also. I think once you take the people along from the grassroots, I think it becomes a lot more easier to implement the strategic programs, right? And also there is a concept of agile, which is more relevant now technology wise, where you have got short cycles. I think COVID taught us that more than anybody else, that you don't have that much time. It's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Now we can get the deliveries, we can get the projects being delivered. So I think that is also very, very useful way of embracing the digital transformation, where it is more agile and you can track the incremental benefits. You can actually talk to your employees how it is going to help. But I want to really emphasize this part about the digital quotient of the employees. It is extremely, extremely critical. And there are organizations, in fact, Vistara were also embarked on a career path. How does a career path and role changes? And for each role, what kind of training or what kind of experience, digital experience you need? uh, it is very much relevant, because that is the new operating model, right? We say that after COVID, the new operating model has emerged, new roles have emerged, new technologies in terms of agile has emerged. So people have to be relevant for this new operating model, and making sure that they understand it. So a lot of energy has to be put on the digital content. What are you going to talk about? Are you going to create this content in-house? Are you going to partner with some of the leading providers in the market? And how are you going to make it, industry specific? Because in the market, you may not find aviation specific, partners who are going to generate that content for you. So how do you pick and choose? And also at all the levels, where you have got coders who are going to mostly worry about that. How do I make sure my coding best practices are being followed or being used? How do I make sure that my code is in line with the security guidelines? But also at the leadership level, when you have got the senior people, they need to appreciate that there is a lot more at stake, and they can drive that change. They can drive that productivity, they can drive that efficiency, and they can drive that ROI. And the moment you do that, they become your brand ambassadors, digital brand ambassadors. I think that makes a big easy.
Absolutely, sir. Upgradation of employees in terms of digital transformation is also very important, as you said. Moving towards Vistara. Any specific example, any specific thing that Vistara in digital transformation examples that they are following, you wanted to highlight?
Yes, see, there are many examples which are from Vistara perspective. So if I look at it, Vistara became the first. Well, many industry first. So I will probably speak, and also these references are available on the net, so you can yourself read the story. If I am not able to complete everything, but you can have a look at the story also yourself. So first one I will talk about, that we have digitized the tech log. Tech log is more logs like paper logs, like technical log, cabin log, journey log, damage log, fueling log. So how do you digitize that? and we were first, and it is right now, at with the DGCA for approval and all. So that whole process of digitization, and we partnered with a partner by name Ultraman. So and so that we can actually create accurate real-time operational visibility. That was the whole intent, so that this efficiency is built up, and we also can help the sustainability, right? The agenda which we have been talking about. So I think that was the first one which we did. Then we also talked about. So we had a very unique problem of in the aircrafts. You have got a lot of inventory, and as per the the guidelines, you need to make sure that that what the inventory is, whether it is the the jackets, life saving jackets, or any of the emergency equipment. So it used to take almost 6 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours to make sure that this inventory is the inspection is done, the inventory is completely done, and which we are able to reduce from 6 hours to 15-20 minutes through the RFID technology. So again, we partnered with a company, and it says RFID AeroCheck. So which has really helped us
Okay.
in managing the employee productivity also, while we again help the compliance part of it also. Okay. Then we also did see our engineers, when they used to go in the morning. So those engineers, again, this previous story is also available on the internet, so you can search on the RFID Vistara, you can get it. Then we also had the engineers who had to work on an aircraft every day. So before you work on an aircraft, you need to make sure that the right engineer is there, right? So for that, there is an approval process. So the approval process was paper based, and we could use the QR technology to get this whole automated through the workflows and all. So and that QR code gets put on that card, so anybody can see whether he or she is a qualified engineer to work on this. You don't have to look at the papers whether the person is qualified or not. I think that is the third good solution on the digitization. We also did, I think, partners in the DigiYatra. As I said, that 7 airports have it. Vistara has been one of the leading airlines to push that initiative across. And it is very successful. As I said, that I encourage each one of the audience as well as everyone to play with that app, get registered, and next time when you are flying, particularly from these 7 airports, it will be a breeze. You will really love it, and how good the technology is. You can literally upload your image of the boarding pass, and it will exactly know where you are going. You will be amazed. So how did it know? And if you are linked to the Aadhaar, that's all. You don't have to show anything to the at the airport. So I think that's the next one. We also did all this. If you look at the Bangalore has come up with a new terminal, T2 terminal. So and there are several
Yeah.
other terminals where you have got self baggage drops. You don't go to the counter to drop your bags, so it's more automated. Again, Vistara has been partnering with the uh, you know providers, so it's also a very good touchless solution. We also have developed a very good dashboard for our crew, where they can understand the customers better, the preferences better, they can serve them better. So that goes with along with the rostering, along with the planning, uh, other things. We see what other thing which Vistara has done is, where we have not published it as a case study, but we have got a solution called Qt in a Box. So where you can uh, simulate, or you can print the boarding passes and the baggage tags, uh, even if the airport is down. So that's a very good use case, where if the network of the airport is down, Vistara should be able to generate its boarding passes as well as the baggage tags. So that was again first in the industry which we did. We also have integrated the kiosks which are at the airports with their APIs. So that's again a Vistara integration. Maybe other partners have done it, but Vistara has definitely done it. We're also big on low code, no code. I don't know if you heard about this technology. So it's more about how do you give more power to the users, where they can develop more apps. You can integrate the workflows. So we can digitize a lot of processes. I think we have gone a big way in that. So probably that will also continue in terms of the focus on the technology side. We also see, I talked about the customer 360, right, where you can, or single view of the customer, where you can understand the customer better. So we recently, or few months back, we have integrated the complete customer support also as part of it. That means if you are calling the Vistara, so they should be able to understand who the customer is, connect the dots, able to solve your problem more effectively and more knowledgeably. I think that's again, and that had a lot to do with the integration, lot to do with connecting the dots. So that's also, I would say, one crucial area which we felt was going to impact the customer in a big way. We also did this SAF sustainable aviation fuel. We were the first airline where we did wide body aircraft flight. One was that we got the flight from US to India with 30% SAF and 70% traditional fuel. Then from Delhi, Mumbai, we had a flight, commercial flight also, which is I think 17% SAF and 83% was the traditional. So there's again Vistara, from Vistara point of view. So I'll take a break here. If you have more, we can elaborate.
Very nice, nicely explains, and sustainability. As we all know that it is very important. Like it can reduce airport traffic, wait time, increase, uh, productivity also. So
Yeah, I think
one
before
more
I have
question,
one more
sir.
point. Yeah, go ahead. Pulvi.
No, sir. Please continue.
No, no, I was saying that the security part of it, though I highlighted about it, but I think security connecting the different components of architecture, components of data, components of network, firewalls, your own employees' data.
Yeah.
It is of paramount importance right now, and where we're moving from EDR to XDR solutions, where you can actually get all these events can be correlated, and you can actually act on it in a much more proactive way than a reactive way, which is very very critical in the info security point of view. I want to just give you that perspective that the architecture for the, we call it infosec transformation architecture, so which can actually withstand the future proofing, which where you can actually address lot many use cases, and it is not end to it, because in info security you can never be 100% sure. You need to always upgrading your architecture, making sure that all the loose ends are fixed. So I thought that I will just give that perspective. It's very very critical for the aviation also.
Yeah.
Yes, you had a question.
Absolutely, sir. And so, yeah, actually, we heard a term like advanced user interface. I think that is also something that is more efficient for the pilots to, work more efficiently.
Yeah, it's basically, see, if you look at, there's a lot of manual paper-based data or processes which even pilots have to follow today. Not only pilots but engineers, as I said, I give example of the automation in their daily day-to-day process through QR codes.
Yeah.
So how do you put an E in front of it? Electronic, flight folders, e-tech log, but these processes, getting them digitized is more than a technology change, because you need to
Yeah.
get them approved by the government authorities, and that process, you have to go through that process, and they need to be convinced that there are no
Right.
issues with the safety, there are no issues with any of the SOPs, uh, that there nothing is
Right.
bypassed, and you give them a better interface in terms of the tabs, in terms of giving access, that how much fuel they need to uplift, for example, very important for a pilot to know, and what are the tools available, what is and how much real time information pilot has, and how much control we can give to the pilot, so that it can help not only for his decision making process, but also the sustainability factor of it. There's no point lifting more fuel when the we could have done with less. So yes, user interface will be critical, but more importantly, the business processes behind that user interfaces are very important, which are actually going to help the user community to a greater extent. See, if I have to summarize, I would say that the technology trends which are happening, the digital technology trends, most of them are applicable to the aviation. So if there is an industry to be in from the technology point of view, it is aviation. So
Yeah.
you look at it from any angle, any technology, there will be relevance. We talked about blockchain, we talked about IoT, we talked about, so first thing is if there are students in it, I don't know who all are there in this audience, so they can certainly look forward to the industry which is technologically challenging and also very dynamic from the business point of view as well. The processes, as I said, that a lot of processes have moved from offline to online. So it is good for both people who have flavor for technology, people who have flavor for the business processes. Second is if you are in a role where you need to devise the enterprise architecture, digital strategy for the enterprise, please look at the dimensions which are relevant to you. There are at least 10, 12 dimensions you should be looking at, not one. And each dimension you can have weightage depending on what you want to do, because one size doesn't fit all. So you can look at it, oh, for my industry, for my project, for my this is what it means. And also the timeline, also how much cost I will put in, how much ROI, can I come up with the incremental benefits? What is that it is going to do? I think that is the second thing. You need to have a larger multi-dimensional digital strategy, which you can track, but it has to be nimble, it has to be agile, where you can start showing people the benefit it is going to deliver. And most importantly, I said it about people. You have to take people along. You have to make sure that they have got the right skill set and they have got the right trainings and their questions are answered. There should be a feedback mechanism. Then third thing I talked about is that why is cyber security, info security, data security so much critical now for the aviation? It is more, as I said, because of the data which we have generated. 80-90% of the data is last 3-4 years. So what are you going to do with the data? How is it safe? Is it secure? Do you have data strategy in place? Do you have the right tools? I talked about zero trust. I talked about zero trust, technology, SASE technology. Those are all which are relevant. Moving from EDR to XDR. So having a cyber security, info security component in your digital strategy is also important. You cannot have a digital strategy by while ignoring the whole security aspect of it. And then I gave little examples of Vistara, what Vistara has done, how I embraced some of the solutions. Most of them are available on the internet, so people can search on it and understand a little bit more on that. That's how I will summarize
Absolutely.
these 4 points.
Absolutely, sir. Sir, thank you so much, sir, for briefing all these questions so well. So now, finally, I would like to thank you for such an insightful thought, and this is a very great and a good learning for me and for the audience also. So we got to know very new things that are happening, in terms of technology in aviation industry. So to conclude this, I would just like to thank to all the participants and to Mr. Bhatt. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much,
much.
sir.
Thank you, Pallavi, for the
Thank you.
opportunity. Thanks a
Thank you,
lot.
sir.
Thanks. Bye.